Hello, sound check.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great, thank you.
Is, is this for that? You have a different mic. Why, how come do I have a different mic? It died? Oh,
Probably just so they can hear you.
okay, okay. So right there? Okay. No problem. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I want to call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum with both Jody and Zuby online, right, Audrey? Okay. And, all right. So our first order of business is to swear in our new board member, Dr. Howard Dittmer. And we have sometimes judge, Spence, municipal judge, municipal, right? Yeah. Spence Pacheco to swear him in. So do you all want to come up here and do the oath? Does she need the microphone? Yes.
There is one.
Oh, there's one, that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Check, check. Dr. Howard Dittmer,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
and the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of member
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of the office of
Santa Fe Community College Board,
Community College Board,
Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Santa Fe, New Mexico,
which I am about to enter
which I'm about to enter
according to the law and to the best of my ability.
according to the law and to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Spence, for coming all the way out
Yes,
here.
thank you.
And come and visit again for some other good reason. Thanks a lot. Spence Pacheco, you know, was our district attorney for a number of years and now does part-time municipal judging when they need somebody. All right, so can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
the motion carries. I think the first thing we have to do is go into a closed session for the purpose of discussing preliminary collective bargaining negotiations and so on.
I don't know if you're on the microphone, but okay. Just make sure.
How about that?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have to have a motion to go in closed session. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Motion to go into closed session for the purposes of discussing preliminary collective bargaining negotiations.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It has to be,
You have to call
has
the
to be
roll.
roll call.
I'm sorry. Audrey?
Chair Siegel,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Secretary Gurman,
Yes.
Member Pugh,
Yes.
Member Dittmer.
Yes.
You'll be in 221 next door.
Okay, 221. All right, Zoomers, we'll see you over there.
There, that would be fine.
The trophy.
Yeah, exactly. No, sorry. Okay, that's pretty good. Yes. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we're marketing.
Okay.
He'll put that in the newsletter.
He was my student in Salabihan. Okay, we need to make a motion to get out of. I didn't have a chance to look for a better chair. I feel this chair's too low. Well, these chairs don't go up. That's my the problem.
Okay, can we have a motion to come back into open session?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Second, thank you. All those in favor, do we have to do a roll call?
Yes. Chair Siegel,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Secretary German,
Yes.
Member Pugh,
Yes.
Member Dittmer.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now we've got our consent agenda. Normally, we would have gone through these in our work session board meeting, but none of us, or some of us could not attend, so we canceled that. So we've got the governing board work session minutes of January 14th and our meeting from the 28th. And I'm sure we've all reviewed these.
I have.
I know you have.
Yes.
Yes, great. All right, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Now that I am the secretary and have to sign on them, I am definitely reading them.
Yes. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. We have no items that we removed from the consent calendar, so here we are on our financial report for January. Nick Teas.
Good afternoon, Chair Siegel, members of the board, President Rowley. My name is Nick Teas. I'm the Vice President for Finance and CFO here at the college, and just welcome to Dr. Dittmer. We usually go over these financial reports once a month. There's an interesting policy for the board where prior to the board reviewing this report, per college policy, we have a financial review committee that's made up of cross-section of people across campus that get together. We met on Monday. Usually we meet the Mondays before the Wednesday board meeting to review this with the greater campus community. So we did that on Monday. But with that, I'm just going to go over this pretty quickly. We are reporting the financials at the end of January, at January 31 of this fiscal year. At this point in time, we're a bit over midway through the year, and so we have some pretty good trending that has occurred. Looking at the management discussion and analysis, our operating bank account cash balance was $48.7 million at the end of January. In the prior year, we had $52.9 million, and that's been reduced by a bit over $4.1 million. The reduction there is primarily bond proceeds for capital projects. That's why you're seeing the larger variance from year to year. We have had quite a bit of bond proceeds and capital construction projects occurring on campus, so that's where you're seeing that decrease there. Tuition and fee revenue totaled $5.3 million this year. Prior year, we had $4.7 million. That's an actual increase of 14%, or $669,198. State appropriation revenue from state of New Mexico and the legislative appropriation is $9.4 million through January, $8.9 million in the prior year, so that's increased $536,000 and about 6% there. Local mill levy revenue, January is really when we start seeing the receipt of our local property taxes. Property taxes, as you know, are due right around December. People pay through January, and so usually our January receipt is the largest portion. Then we get the second half collection towards May, June. And that's really substantial to the college because about 54% of our budget comes from local mill levy property taxes. So at the end of January, we had received in mill levies 18.1 million. In the prior year, we had about 16 million. The year over year actual was about 2,068,443. That's increased 13% over the year for local property tax revenue.
Not me.
Other sources of revenue totaled 679,448, and in the prior year we had 591,692, and so that's increased 15%, and by an actual increase of 87,756. So that looks, pretty good there. In total, ING revenue for college operations total to be 34.7 million this January. In the prior year, we received 31.2, and so that's increased 3,505,831 there. About 11% of an increase from year to year for total revenue. Expenses for ING, which is instruction in general, that has increased 3% at 24.9 million this year. And then last year we had 24.1 million. So that's the summary, really. Just want to quickly take a look at the cash in bank so if I can just scroll down to the financial report real quick.
May I ask a question?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
The increase, the $2 million increase on mill levy, is that real or is that a timing issue?
Yeah, good catch. Chair Siegel and Member Dittmer, that should be a realized gain. However, it just really depends on when people pay their taxes. We do see a substantial amount of delinquent taxes received throughout the year, so that number could change. Again, we get a clearer picture unfortunately towards the end of the year on that when second half taxes are paid, but that looks pretty good. Really, what we plan for year to year increases is right around a 3%. That's what it usually stands at. That's what we've budgeted for this year. So normally we'll see 3%. At this point in time, I had mentioned it was a bit over
13%.
13%. So I think that's high.
Yeah, that's what
It'll level out. It depends also if people decide to pay their taxes in full up front and they don't pay the second half. So a lot of those little differentiating factors there.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
There seem to be more developments too.
Correct. Yeah. That really does impact a lot. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of development, and the thing about that is it's classified as new construction, and on new construction, property taxes are paid without the yield control. The yield control, we'll go over this, at some time when we can talk, specifically about it, but the yield control always limits property taxes to really existing property to a 3% increase. New construction is taxed at the full levy rate, so it does generate more revenue to the county as well as the college.
Is the boundary where we get taxes from real estate, is that the same boundary as our districts, at large?
Yes.
Because we realize it's not the whole Santa Fe County.
It's the school.
No, it's the school district. Okay, just curious about that.
That's our taxing district, because
that's the
taxing district.
Okay.
Which is the boundary.
Well, so I live in Lamy, and Lamy's not in the Santa Fe School District, I don't believe.
I think so. It's El Dorado School.
Is it? Okay.
I think they should be going to El
mistaken.
Dorado.
That is, Lamy
Okay.
should be in.
Okay, I could be mistaken.
Community school.
Close to, but doesn't include Edgewood.
Yeah.
Right, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Exactly.
At
It
one
doesn't.
point.
There's right around the borders of the county, there's some little carve-outs.
Yeah.
North of Santa Fe,
Includes Pewaukee.
Milwaukee.
It does include Pewaukee.
It goes pretty close to Espanola, but
Not
not
quite.
Espanola.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like not Nambe.
Right.
yeah. So with that, if I could just really go
Continue.
over the cash report, because this is the, cash is king, and this gives you a picture of the health of the college, where you see on page 2 of the detailed financial report at the end of January, our operating account is at 48,719,210 compared to about 52.9 million in the prior year. That's where that reductions happened, and we do account for some local bond proceeds in that bank account, so that those proceeds sit there, and as we use them, they decrease. And so that's why you're seeing the change there. The category right below that was NMFA, New Mexico Finance Authority bond proceeds. This was a bond that we took out for the microgrid, and that was the account that we held the proceeds in. Last year we had, in January, 177,731 in available proceeds. We've completed that project for the most part and have spent that down to zero. That's why you're seeing that there. The college has a policy reserve. Per the board policy, it's 1-31, and we have had in our reserve policy $12.7 million there that has been at that level for a few years now. And then below that, you'll see our debt service account. This is the account where we received local mill levy revenue and cash to pay off existing outstanding local bonds. So that amount is used for debt servicing those bonds. So you'll see the debt service account of $7,017,514, and compared to the prior year of $2,996,345, that has grown nicely over the year as we have retired some bonds that we had outstanding for a long time. So that's a really healthy account there. And then we have to have a New Mexico Finance Authority bond cash reserve. That just has to remain at that level as we have these revenue bonds outstanding, which are set to be paid back through the next 18 years. And we have to have that as a requirement of the agreement on that bond. So all in all, when you add up all of those different accounts, college has 68.7 million in cash on hand available. And in the prior year, we had 69,036,111, and it's decreased slightly, but has remained pretty stable from year to year. It's important to remember that's total cash the college has. Each category is restricted for different purposes, and we can't just spend $68 million on whatever we'd like, of course.
That'd be a heck of a party.
It could be, definitely. But that's it. Just keep it nice and short.
Questions from board members? Yeah. go ahead.
For the operating account, and it looks like it went down about 4 million. I mean, on the first page of the summary, it looks like the revenue from tuition and fees is up. The revenues, the ING revenues higher than the expenses. So why is the operating account gone down?
It's important to remember, Chair Siegel and Member Gurman, the cash balance is the total of all of our different funds in the college. What you're seeing in ING is just one fund. That's the primary fund to the college. And so that's where we account for tuition and fees, CTCE revenue, state appropriations, mill levy, other sources, and that all applies to the ING fund. And at this point, at the end of January, we have 34 million 712,893 in ING. Remember, we have the plant fund. The plant fund is where we hold all of the bond proceeds and available like capital project cash. And so that is a separate fund, but it's held together in that same bank account. So when we spend down on the plant fund, it affects the cash balance.
Oh, that's, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah. And the page after that, when we talk about revenue and expenditures and we compare it to the prior fiscal year, is that the numbers after the audit? Have we finished the audit for last year's fiscal year, and are these numbers adjusted?
We actually have not adjusted these numbers. The only thing that we would adjust is the beginning balance, these financials,
Yeah,
because the state auditor is still reviewing our audit. They got set back because of the federal government's very delayed outlay of rules related to grants and federal grants. It was very, very delayed. So that's why our audit hasn't been complete. Normally, it's done by now, in January or February, it's released. So usually we don't update these numbers until the audit is complete. In fact, we really shouldn't, because we shouldn't, prior to the audit's approval, the state auditor's approval, you can't really publicly release information related to it. So once we have that released in probably March, we'll update these numbers, but just the beginning balances.
just the beginning, because of the transfers.
The transfer, I mean, and really how the prior fiscal year ended, that's
Yeah.
the starting point for this
Right.
fiscal year. Yeah. But other than that, the revenues is what we have received this year, and the expenses are what have occurred this year after July 1. We're on a July 1 to June 30 fiscal year.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to note that I was noticing that in our auxiliary services, we lost a lot less money than we budgeted to lose. So that's a good thing.
To be continued.
Thank you for your optimism, member
Thank you,
Wilson.
Member Wilson, for that, but to be continued, no promises in the next few months.
Ah,
I-
anything, Jody?
Jody, are you gonna ask about the reserve? Or I'll ask.
I'm good, thank you. thank you.
Okay.
That reserve based on the board policy, isn't that like 10%? Or like, it's a percentage, isn't it?
It's definitely a percentage.
Yeah.
I thought
Was it 12?
It's
Yeah, I
based
couldn't remember.
upon-
But it's the same number this year and last year, but shouldn't it be a little different?
It should, and we'll update it with
Yeah.
the new audit. Because
Oh,
it's based
waiting
on
for the
the
audit.
2 audit years, the average of current funds,
Okay,
and a percentage of that, yeah.
thank you. I knew it was a percentage, just trying to sound the same number.
Okay, are we ready for a motion or any other questions, anybody?
Is this related to this, or this is something else?
That's our discussion.
Okay, okay.
A motion
I-
to approve the financial?
Yeah, I move to approve the financials for this month.
Second.
All right.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Okay, HED second quarter report.
This is our favorite.
Our favorite.
I have a question on that.
Do you?
Why is it not on the consent agenda?
Chair Siegel and members of the board, President Rowley, we didn't meet for the work session.
Oh, that's why? Oh, I'm
Our
like, this
going
one.
process is if we discuss it and it gets put on the consent at the work session, then
And do you want to explain this very important HED report for our new board member?
yes, let me just kind of review it. It's very straightforward. The questions that they ask are really related to a college, and we're required to turn this in quarterly
To the state?
to the state higher education department. It's a mandatory thing. And if you were to answer no to any of these questions, I mean, yes to any of
Say,
these
you
questions.
answered no to all the questions.
No is good, yes is not good.
Yes is bad.
But if you answer yes, it's
They're
a
not
sign,
tricking you, huh? Okay.
it's a sign of serious financial
Sure.
issues, like you're not paying your payroll, you're having trouble paying your accounts payable obligations, retirement payments to the state. If you're not doing that, that's a huge signal of you're kind of in a bad way, and that's for this is to help them detect colleges that might be in trouble. So we're in good financial footing now currently, and so we
Apparently.
yeah apparently, and we normally answer for the longest time no to all of these, so it's a very
It's sort of a perfunctory report.
It is,
which we
yeah.
have to do
I
quarterly.
wonder if they're going to update this form one day to say, have your board members taken the training? Because I still have not.
You have not?
Oh,
I
Give
keep
them any-
forgetting. I keep forgetting.
all right. So we need a motion to approve this very important quarterly report.
So moved.
Second?
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
I,
Aye. Okay, motion carries. And now we have the Loop Road and Emergency Evacuation Route.
Let's get to the exciting part.
This Chair Siegel, members of the board and President Rowley, this is another required element from the New Mexico Higher Education Department. Anytime we have capital projects really over a certain threshold, we have to bring that to the governing board to approve the project. And then they also ask us to, after the fact, have our board approve the actual contract for the construction work. So there's various steps. But that's what this is for. This is the project form. And they ask for particular information that is spelled out in this form. We actually we asked the state of New Mexico for $1 million several years ago, and from the state general fund process for capital outlay, the state awarded us 815,000, or was it nearly $1 million? Do you remember? Okay, so we had a general fund appropriation from the state for $1,095,000, and that went through the process for basically higher ed capital outlay. So we received $1 million, a while back, and this is the project related to that appropriation. We're moving it through the process, and then
Now, where exactly is this, the loop?
I'll turn it over.
In the,
With me is,
behind the.
I'll let Helen introduce herself.
Need a map?
Good afternoon, Chair Siegel, board members, President Raleigh. The Loop Road is the inner road that goes all the way around the college. You come into it off of Richards Avenue at the main entrance roundabout, and then at the north entrance, sort of northeast or northwest entrance roundabout. And you come onto it.
Goes by
off-
the whale?
It goes by the whale. Yeah, that's one end of it, and then it continues around from La Familia, goes past the north entrance where the deliveries are, around to the west side entrance for the West Wing parking lot, over to Kids Campus, past the ATC, and past the fitness center.
Sorry, and what are we doing to the Loop Road?
We are going to be milling it, which means scraping off a layer of the pavement and then repaving it, adding a bike lane on both sides of the road, and restriping, moving some speed bumps to more appropriate places, and then really addressing the sort of a conflicting speed bump stop sign issues over at the fitness center.
Thank you.
But this doesn't include any of the parking lots, or this is just the road?
It's just the road.
Is it possible not to hire the contractor that did Richards Avenue?
We made sure that didn't happen.
Yeah, thank you. There were so many letters to the editor about that. Now, my question is about the funds, the way you broke them down. Looks like they were approved from 2023 and 2024. The funds or the bonds, one is a state fund, one is a bond, looks like, a GO bond. If they've been approved, doesn't that mean they're already connected to a project? So we've already voted on that, or the board voted on that before in 23 and 24, or no?
Chair Siegel, since this is general fund from the state, it's different than the statewide general obligation bond issuance that you all vote for in the county.
Yeah.
The state alternates, every 2 years we do the state GO bond referendum vote, and then in the next year the state will do a severance tax bond, or at this point in time they had a lot of general fund money. I don't know if you recall, they had extra general fund one-time money that they allowed to be used for one-time capital projects, because that's what they like. They don't like the recurring funding so much.
So that was more of a general scope that we gave them, and now we're voting on specific contractor on how to spend it.
We have currently we have a grant agreement from the state. It's a very convoluted process.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that wonder why it takes so long to spend down state money, but it's because of this process that the state appropriates. The legislature approves the legislation, then the bonds have to get sold, or the money has to be set aside, which takes months later. Then HED has to get grant agreements out, which takes months later. So after a session that started in January, when they're considering bills, the actual grant agreement doesn't get to the college till like October, November of that year. And then all along, HED is asking, why haven't you spent the money? We haven't even gotten the grant agreement yet. So it's part of that process.
Okay.
We have the grant agreement now. Because we want to move forward with the project, we have to do the project forms, take it to HED, and go through that process.
Well, we have to RFP it out, right?
Once they
Once
approve.
they approve, yeah.
So we're not even voting on the RFP right now.
No.
Okay.
We actually did send out an RFP.
Oh, you sent it?
It's an RFQ, a request for quotes
Yeah.
for the project
Okay.
already. And so sometimes we use an estimate to supply HED with the information. This time we actually had a concrete
quote.
or asphalt number.
What are we voting on right now?
The forms for HED.
You're voting on
HED,
You're right.
HED has to approve.
Yeah.
HED has to approve the construction project. So
Okay.
these are forms that we submitted to HED, and we're going to meet with HED on March 11th, and hopefully they will actually approve the project. The board, we're asking the board to approve the forms that we submit to HED.
For the amount here.
Yeah.
And then we have
And
a
then
contractor
And then
in
we
the
have to-
wings.
Next month,
And then we'll have to vote again.
next month,
To hire the
I hope
contractor.
you will be approving the contract for the work.
Okay.
I see why now, I saw some bills in the legislature where the higher eds were going directly to the Senate Education Committee saying, we have a couple of outlay project, we want to build the baseball field or something. And it's like, why are you not going through HED? Now I know why. They're going straight to the legislature, just give us some money.
Okay, any other questions?
I have one question. We now have the Falcon Way Circle that has an exit for College Drive. So and when we're doing this project, is there anything that we're doing to make that transition to College Drive upgraded as well?
The entrance at College Drive
Where's that?
is a newer portion of the road. We're not going to repave that portion, but we will be crack sealing and fog sealing that portion.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
What was that? Those two words you used?
We're going to seal the cracks
Oh,
and then
crack ceiling.
fog seal it.
Fog ceiling? I don't even know what that means. But what, okay, that's all right. I don't need to know. Thank you.
It's some kind of ceilings, that sounds good.
Yeah, seal it.
Whatever, okay. Then we need a motion.
I have a question.
Okay, question.
Yeah, will there be lighting all the way along the loop road then? Is
Lighting,
that part of the,
lighting is not in the project.
okay, all right, thank
Oh,
you.
Only cracking and sealing.
So, ceiling cracks and fog ceiling.
Milling, cracking, and
Milling,
sealing.
paving,
Crack ceiling, fog ceiling, milling. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Scraping a top and then putting another something.
Okay, just make a motion to approve this.
I don't-
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Jody,
Jody second.
all right, all those in favor, aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Great, thank you.
for our learning experience on cracking and sealing.
About roads. I'm glad there'll be a bike lane.
Yeah, that's great.
2 bike lanes.
Oh, one on each side. Okay, so now we have information items. Nick, you're doing this.
Yes,
Discussion of issuance of remaining bonds.
correct. Chair Sagal, board members, and President Rowley. With me, I have Eric Harrigan with RBC Capital Markets. He's our, there he is, I see him. He's our bond advisor. A college has to have a bond advisor on all of our debt that we issue. And Eric helps us out with finance planning, et cetera, related to our bonds. I'll turn it over to him to just walk us through a packet. I printed out a hard copy, which you should have on
It's
your.
in the packet or?
No, it's on the side. Yeah.
Oh, this?
Yeah, it's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you could just walk us through that packet, Eric, that would be perfect.
And-
Yep,
Please go ahead.
oh, yep, absolutely. Well, good afternoon. Eric Harrigan with RBC Capital Markets. So the reason that, I'm presenting today is that next month we will be bringing a resolution to you authorizing the last of the bonds that were approved by voters back in 2023. And one of the things that we kind of start off with is talking about, what's been going on with your tax base, because that really is an important component on how quickly you can retire debt, as well as it impacts the amount of bonds that you can go out for an additional election and continue to maintain the historical debt service tax rate that the college district has had in place for some time now. So we have provided a 5-year growth in your tax base. You have seen good growth this past year, a little over 6%. Over the last 5 years, you've grown on average about 6.7% per year. You're seeing growth in both your non-residential values, but most of your growth is coming in your residential tax base, which makes up about 80% of your total tax base. On page 2 of the presentation,
Eric, if I
yes.
could just jump in real quick. I think it's important to differentiate the growth in assessed valuations as opposed to growth in actual revenue that the college receives. So while the growth rate has been at 6.18%, really residential and then non-residential, so commercial property.
Yeah, that is correct. And another term that we often use is your net taxable value. And so your assessed value or your net taxable value is a third of the value that the county assessor places on each property. And so on page 2 of the presentation, we have all of the various, taxing entities within the college district. As Nick was pointing out, you can see how your operating mill levy has been yield controlled down over the years, and yield control is basically the process of generating the same amount of revenue year in and year out, subject to the rate of inflation. And so if your tax base grows faster than the rate of inflation, the state will yield control your operational mill levy down to account for that. So your operating mill levy has gone from $2.89 down to this current year of $2.72. Your debt service, though, however, is not subject to yield control because it is set annually to pay the principal and interest on your bonds, and also any projected debt issuances that are planned. And as you can see within the city of Santa Fe, their tax rate has gone from about $24 down to around $22.7 dollars, and again, this is all due to yield control. Not only is the college subject to it, but the city and the county and the school district are also subject to yield control. On page 23 of the presentation, so back in November of 23, voters approved a total of $23 million in authorization. 13 of that 23 million was sold in 2024, and for this year, the college is scheduled to sell the remaining 10 million. And so after this, all of the authorization that voters gave the college will have been used up. Your next GeoBond election is scheduled for November of 27. We estimate that amount to be around 26 million. But there are some changes coming up specifically related to veteran exemptions. That does add a little bit of uncertainty in what will happen to the district's tax base next year. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the presentation. For college districts, you're capped at 3% of your assessed valuation in terms of the total amount of bonds that you can have outstanding, which is 300 million, because your tax base is just a little over 10 billion. You currently have a little over 16 million outstanding, so your legal capacity is around $280 million. You're about 5% bonded to capacity.
What page are you on?
3.
I'm on page 3.
Okay.
For our capacities.
Okay.
On page 4 of your presentation, this is your outstanding debt. You do pay your debt off very rapidly. That has been helped with the growth that you've seen in your tax base. And your debt is structured this way so it allows the college to layer in future bonds, future elections, and continue to maintain the 65-cent tax rate that you have had outstanding for a long time. We do periodically review your debt for any potential refunding or refinancing opportunities, and just given where current market rates are, given the fact that you generally have pretty low rates on your debt, we're not recommending refunding any bonds at this time. We have provided a time schedule on page 5. As I kind of mentioned at the start of my presentation, we would be coming back to you all in March for you to adopt and authorize the sale of these bonds. Pricing would be anticipated in the early April timeframe, with closing in and around the first part of May. And that's when funds will then be available for the college to expend on the projects.
And for clarification, Eric, that is related, the schedule's related to the $10 million that we have remaining on the bonds that were authorized in 2023, right?
That is correct.
So we had already, whenever the voters, that's bad practice, it's bad form, all sorts of issues with that. So what we do is we will sell half of them, more or less, in a first series, which we sold 13 million closer to that date of in and around November 2023. I think it was 24. We sold 13 million. We've been working on that. That's where we've done a lot of these capital projects. And now we're going for the remaining 10 million out of the 23 that was approved in November 2023. So this is only in reference to the second series sale of $10 million of bonds. And that's what Eric's talking about.
Which will keep our rate at the same amount.
Yes, correct.
Correct. So on page 7 of the presentation, I wanted to, disabled veteran from 100% disabled to any percent disabled. And these two amendments were memorialized by the state legislature last year in House Bill 47. And so on page 8, this is an estimate of the impact of the veteran exemptions. You'll notice that in the top part of the chart where it says tax year 2024, without constitutional amendments, you can see the column veteran and then disabled veterans. You'll see that the veteran exemption in 24 was 14.7 million. That number jumped to 37.3 million in tax year 2025. If you go down to the chart in the middle, because the standard exemption became effective in tax year 2025, which we're currently in. The disabled veteran exemption becomes effective this upcoming tax year in tax year 2026. The disabled veteran exemption for 2025 was 86.7 million. With the new disabled veteran exemptions coming in, we estimate that exemption will go up to around 270 million. I will just note that this is based upon very limited data. We don't have a lot of good data on percent, disabled veterans and if they are property owners. And so this is just an estimate of what we think this impact will be, but we will have better information come May of this year. And then once we get, better information on that, we can update our estimate on the bonding capacity and recommendation for the November 2027 election phase. And I will say that Santa Fe and the Santa Fe, area is probably one of the least impacted communities by this disabled veteran exemption. There are other communities where we are seeing quite a bit larger impact on this disabled veteran exemption.
Because they can't afford to live.
I have a few slides on the market, which I won't go through other than just to kind of at a very high level. We saw interest rates peak around the September-October timeframe of last year. Since that time, we have seen interest rates decline as inflation has started to tick down. A lot of what's sort of driving interest rates right now is just really where inflation is headed. The expectation that the Federal Reserve will most likely cut rates 2 more times this year. The Federal Reserve did cut rates at the end of last year. At the last Federal Reserve meeting, they paused on any additional cuts. The next anticipated cut is probably anticipated around the May timeframe. But with a change in the federal chair, come the May timeframe, that estimate of 2 cuts could change. A lot of it will just sort of depend too on what's going on in the national economy. I will say that this week, Los Alamos schools and Bernalillo schools were in the market. They did receive very strong interest from investors. There's a lot of interest for tax-exempt municipal bonds. We don't anticipate that really changing anytime soon, and we do anticipate that the college will receive a very favorable interest rate when it goes to sell its bonds in April. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
questions?
Does, we have to find that other document. Come on. Remember there's this composite index we always see in our financial reports? Is this is affected by the bonds, isn't it? By our bonds, and it has gone down a little bit.
Chair Siegel and Member Gurman, yes, the composite financial index for accreditation and the HLC accreditation, that metric is impacted by the amount of debt we have outstanding. So, the higher debt that you have, perhaps the lower you're going to score on the HLC scoring. So, because we just issued recent bonds, the $23 million in November 2023, we showed a lot of bonds outstanding, and so it did impact that score.
So issuing another bond might impact it too, going down?
But we're going to be paying off outstanding bonds at the same time.
Okay.
So every year we're reducing, and then we would be adding, and that's what Eric helps us out with, is to make sure that we stabilize that. And ultimately, it does affect our property tax rates because, we don't want to be issuing large amounts of bonds, spike taxes, all that. Eric helps us to keep that stable for the college and the community.
Okay.
So, whenever we come up with a recommendation to the board for how many bonds, what we want the voters to approve, it's always within that, through that lens of making sure everything's stable and reasonable for the, for all the different issues of what the college needs, but also just keeping taxes stable in the community.
But maintaining that tax rate so that the
very
taxes
important.
don't go down and they don't go up. So
Absolutely, that's critical because once they go down, you have to ask the voters.
Then it's more difficult to
then
pass
the
it.
taxes are increasing.
Yeah,
And
and it's a marketing nightmare.
It is a marketing nightmare because that looks like the college would be raising taxes.
Right.
Be really raising taxes historically. It would be trying to achieve what the tax rate was previously. So that's the real careful consideration and balance that we have to keep in mind of.
I just want to make sure that the composite financial index score doesn't keep going down. I mean, it just dipped now, that's all. But I know it's really still a high score. Yeah.
Very high score.
Yeah, okay.
And I would add, Chair Siegel and Member Gurman too, that you don't want it to be at the top because what it looks like is that you're hoarding your money and it looks like you don't spend, you're not using your money to, meet your mission. And so ours has been about as low as it can be in whenever that was.
Oh, that is
And so we've, Nick's worked really hard to get that up. And then really, I would say as long as it's around 6 or something like that, that's still really strong.
Yeah,
even
the
5.
colleges, at least when I looked last, the colleges that were at a CFI of 10 were like the Ivy League schools that have huge endowments, and I don't think that necessarily we want to be in that realm. We're just different, and we don't have the.
I don't think we have to worry about
Or
that.
colleges that don't have any bonding capacity and they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Eric.
We'll continue, Chair Siegel, in our work session. I'll invite Eric to join us for that as we meet in March
Closer, yeah.
to discuss where we're at with things. And if you have any questions on the veterans issue, I know that that's been something for a while we've been wondering about, so.
Can't do much about that.
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to the budget calendar.
Yes. This, hopefully you've had a chance, Chair Siegel, members of the board, President Rowley, to look at. We just want to show you what we have planned in terms of budget, required budget, the timeline related to our budget. Ultimately, we have to have an approved budget by the board submitted to New Mexico Higher Education Department by May 1st of every year. We start the process really early in November of the prior November to May. And so you can see how we've outlined, different activities. We had sent out budget requests to department heads, and so they've been working on those. And they currently they're turning them in. One of the big factors is the legislative session always, because that's, compensation's always nearly 75% of our budget to the college. And so whatever the legislature decides there, it really does impact our budget for the upcoming year. Member Dittmer will learn soon enough that this legislature only gives us about now 40 cents on the dollar of any mandated pay increase, because the way that they calculate our sort of compensation expenses is not the way that the college actually does it, so.
Or any college, for that matter.
Correct, yeah. So that's always a challenge, and so what always supports that is the local mill levy revenue. When the state gives us the 40 cents on the dollar, we come up with the remainder out of local mill levies usually. And so that's coming up. The governor has till the 11th to veto anything, so we'll stay tuned for that. Ultimately, we just wanted to check with you all to see if this plan for our governing board budget session and training, we have that scheduled on April 16th, 17th. And so, that's the tentative plan. That's where we really get into the detail of the recommended budget. And we'd like to see if we could meet with you all on April 16th or 17th for that. We also, as I mentioned earlier, another requirement per college policy is that the Financial Review Committee has to be able to study the proposed budget prior to the board's approval. And so we'll need to get that to the FRC on April 20th, and then to HED on May 1st.
So the final approval of the budget by the board is proposed to be on the 22nd?
That's when the governing board meeting's scheduled. And so that usually is enough time for us to get everything tied up and ready to submit to HED.
Okay. Any questions on that? So
Yeah.
we should preserve these dates.
I cannot do 16, I can do 17. If needed.
Okay.
I'm good.
Anybody else?
We'll take a look at it, and then at the work session, I'll bring it up as an agenda item to discuss.
The March work session, you're saying?
The March, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I think I am done.
Oh, strategic plan, sorry.
Yes, I'm done.
Josh is coming.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Can we start?
Yes.
All right.
Start.
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, I'm Yash Morimoto. I'm the VP that oversees the strategic planning process, although this is a collaborative process across the college. It's my pleasure to introduce Todd Bruce, which is one of my colleagues who work with me on the strategic plan at the college. Before we go into the actual biannual report, I think it might be good for all of us to just have a quick refresher about our strategic planning process, to add some context, and I promise not to take that much of your time, and I'll talk super fast, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So, as many of you are aware, our mission statement, and if you don't mind sharing the screen, okay, thank you very much, is to empower students, strengthen community. That is what we do and who we serve. Our vision statement, so if we're successful with our mission, it sort of is what is our idealized future, and we want to have a multi-generational change towards economic and social prosperity. Our 3 values are student-centeredness, innovation, equity, all good ones that we developed based on our discussions. And then we've got 3 priorities. Priority 1 is about creating systems for student success, through people, process, and innovation. It took us about a year to go through the strategic planning process. It was a pretty involved process across the community, across the campus, and we had a lot of input and feedback from the students, faculty, staff, all employees and external constituents. I'm happy to send this to the board later on if they're interested in. And the way we actually implement the strategic plan, that's usually where many organizations fail. So we take a particular approach where we sort of combine a traditional strategic plan implementation process with an agile framework, where we do an annual implementation plan that's usually developed in June based on the board's discussion with the president. And then we come up with a team that's a cross-sectional team that's made up of faculty, staff, and administration. And every 2 weeks, they check in with the exec team to sort of share, hey, this is what's happening. This is the direction we need to change. Here's the challenges we're having, right? So there's sort of cross-collaboration, accountability, and discussion about how are we doing in our strategic plan. And then we have a biannual report to the governing board, which is why we're here today. So that was my attempt to do a real nutshell of a strategic plan. Hopefully that made sense, all right? And with that, I would like to turn it over to my colleague.
You said you're going to share a copy of this with us?
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, Chair Siegel, members of the board, President Rowley. So I'm going to be providing some highlights on the action plans that Yash mentioned that are part of our annual process. So for priority 1, creating systems for student success, we have an initiative called Flexible Course Offerings. So over the fall, I was working with the deans and associate deans, and through that process, we identified 20 degrees and certificates for an 8-week model. Not all of them are in 8 weeks, some of them are a little less. What we found is about 111 of those of the 170 courses for those degrees and certificates are already in this format. So it's not a major change, it's just an opportunity for us to explore it as well. Through the process, we've, as Josh mentioned, working with cross-sectional teams. We have a bi-weekly meeting with faculty, student services, and student support, or support staff and associate deans to talk about the process we've been going through. We've also got a couple of Achieving the Dream coaches that are have already implemented this at their institution, so they're consulting us on best practices for that. Number 2 under for priority 1, creating systems for student success, we have recruitment. You'll see the CRM, that's actually our customer relationship management. You probably interact with it, maybe you haven't ever heard the term, but this is about our implementation of that and outreach. So they had a good fall. Partially it was building the system, actually getting some of the technical components of this to work. Had about 167 prospective students they identified, and so along with that, you ended up with about a 22% you ended up with about 1,734 prospective students for the fall, and about 22% of those actually registered for the spring. Next, we'll take a look at recruitment application to registration. You'll see we've tried to break these into pieces to move through the entire process of getting a student registered, and then persistence to retention and completion. So they created multiple points of outreach, so it's an enhanced online letter of acceptance, hard copy letter of acceptance. Really a couple more of those, but what they were able to do is drive about a 6.6% increase in applications over fall 2024. Feeling pretty good about the efforts, the attention that's been given to those. As I mentioned, we'll continue through the cycle and looking at persistence, retention, and completion. This is for first-time, full-time students only. We wanted to look at that population specifically for this round. For fall, we had about 156 students. That was and for their persistence, about 74% of them persisted into January 2026. Let's look at utilization of Canvas and Instructor Insight. Canvas is our learning management system. This is where faculty are interacting with the students on the different aspects of their course. So we're really looking at improved monitoring and expanding training for academic directors on Instructor Insight is a bolt-on application that helps us draw data from Canvas and make informed decisions. So really we're looking at minimum Canvas requirements that we're monitoring on a biweekly basis. It's published shells in Canvas, active gradebook, and posted syllabus. And what we saw from that in the fall is that we had a 24% decrease in the number of D and F grades at midterms. For all students, and then 15% decrease in DNF students at midterms for first-time, full-time students. So we're really seeing that technology, utilizing the data coming out of that to reach out to people and provide the training that's needed.
So that's how what you're contributing it to, the training? Like students getting trained on Canvas better?
No, faculty.
The faculty. Oh, okay.
Chair Siegel, members of the board, Secretary Gurman, what we're really doing there is Canvas is our learning management system. Faculty enter those three components in there. They're also using it for other things, but those are the three primary things that we're looking at. From that, we have a system that looks at that. It's called Instructor Insight that tells us whether that information has been entered. And then there's another system called Dropout Detective. All of these are interrelated. That provides us early alert systems for the student services.
Oh, wow, cool.
So having a systemic approach to monitoring how students are progressing throughout the semesters, allowing us to do more on-time intervention to make sure the students are able to go to our wonderful tutoring center, talking to the faculty members, talking to advisors. Maybe there's economic challenges where the car's not working anymore. They need some emergency support. So some of these things are really helping and making sure that we're actually supporting students before it's too late at the end of the semester when there's really not much we can do at that point. So we're attributing the increase in success there for better using data and better using systems.
How long have you been using this process? I mean, 24% decrease is pretty high.
So it is pretty good. We haven't been really focused on this until this academic year.
Yeah.
People, it is part of the requirements for the faculty to use Canvas in the CBA, but we haven't been closely monitoring as much as we've been doing recently. There's a lot of good faculty members who are using it, and there's a lot of faculty members who may not be using it. And so our effort has been to collaborate with the faculty members and the deans to make sure people are using it so the students get on-time feedback.
The decrease does not account students who drop out of the course before they even have a grade? Yeah, but are you counting those too? Like people who register, start a course, and then they drop out before the deadline?
Members of the board, Secretary Gurman, President Rowley, what we're doing there is if they drop before the date that it goes into their file, that they're not counted as part.
They're not counted. But that's a metric too to look at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Other question? Okay. We'll move on to priority 2. Actually, I want to give one shout out to the math department. We have a faculty member here. They actually have all their Canvas shells built out. They've done a really nice job with that, and that's an example to hold up. So just give a little shout out there.
Go math.
Priority 2 with career readiness and economic alignment. So you see as part of our overall 5-year plan is really tying that to the workforce here in the region. So we've been exploring data systems with different academic leaders to see what programs offer the greatest economic mobility. That's not the only value that we're looking at here, but that's one area we can say where can we look at this and make progress over the next 5 years towards that. So we kind of came up with what we called our bubble programs, and this is about $35,000 to $40,000 a year for an entry-level position. Again, this is going to be refined over time. We've got the OP team, supporting us with that, and look forward to more progress on that in the spring.
Question. So the 35,000, 48,000 a year, that's not economic mobility. I mean, that's a pretty low annual salary.
Right, so the goal is to go above that range.
Yeah, to go above that.
Yeah. So we really want to. The goal is to have as many of our programs go above the $41,000 mark, $40,000 mark, and so those programs sort of identified to make sure that we're really seeing what kind of jobs at the end of the program, so they're actually better support, making sure the curriculum's aligned. The good things is the film program in particular have a lot of already good work that's happening with the local industry partners, you guys know, the backlog and everything else.
Yeah.
So all those things we expect to sort of contribute to the further success of students.
Okay. I mean, just like I hope we are graduating students that are making more than 40,000.
Well, there are some programs that do those things really well, and other programs where that's a challenge, right? And so that's one of the reasons why we're sort of focusing on working with them to say, hey, okay, here's where we are. What can we do to help, right? And all this conversation we're having with the program leads hasn't been about you're not doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Now let's talk about like what are some of the other things you're thinking about. And we've met like 20 different programs, and every single program, the leads were like really engaged, really interested, and came up with good ideas about what they can do to do better.
The other component of that I really didn't highlight is that we do now have identified those high mobility programs and are working in those areas for growth for us. So how do we grow those programs? What resources do they potentially need in the budgeting process? To wrap up priority 2, we'll talk briefly about Mosaica. So this is a nonprofit that was established for the Research Park Act. Many of you probably are aware of this, but it's similar to the C&M Ingenuity, and it allows us to like flexibly and responsibly respond to local workforce demands. So I'm not going to delve into that more. I'll admit President Rowley is much more of an expert on this than I am. Priority 3. Build institutional excellence through people, processes, and innovation. This is another one, Chess Workday, the student information systems. It's included in the president's update, and I encourage you to use that as additional information to that's in this report provided. And last but not least, we established a Center for Professional Learning. So we do have a new director in place, supported by faculty and staff trainers. We have expanded cross-campus partnerships to identify training needs, and really this is about advancing professional learning for faculty and staff across the organization. So with that, I stand for any questions.
Questions? All right.
Thank
you very much.
The Center of Professional Learning, does that have an office, like a physical office?
There's an office.
Where?
Campus. It's
by your wing or?
The ground level and the floor. Yeah, there you go. The former trio office. That's a good way of saying it.
Former trio downstairs?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious. And SJ is now the director, right?
SJ is not the director, no. Annika is the director.
Annika?
SJ is a faculty trainer.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all for that
Thank you.
update. All right, Faculty Senate report.
Faculty Senate Chair is not here at this moment. I'm the Vice Chair. I would be willing to.
Great. Come on up.
Just a couple points.
Okay.
Not properly prepared.
That's all right.
And thank you for including Faculty Senate to be able to report.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I appreciate being included. Our last Faculty Senate meeting, a couple issues that came up. The cybersecurity training lockout that is happening this Friday, we discussed that during the meeting, and we are hoping that faculty can have a voice in how this in the future will be handled. Right now, the lockout is due to happen tomorrow, and it's the week before midterms, so that was a faculty concern. And also, we feel there really needs to be a clear process for reinstatement. Right now, faculty that are locked out and chairs who have their faculty locked out I'm not completely clear on exactly how that will be remedied, and considering it's the week before midterms. So one thing faculty has discussed was asking to be able to work with administration and staff for the planning of the lockouts. We also absolutely recognize the importance of these trainings, especially the current one for cybersecurity training. We do recognize the importance of that. Just concerns about the week before midterms. And currently, there's an AI training due on April 30th if we go to Workday as faculty. But when we go to our tasks in Workday, it doesn't say, it says no tasks pending. So if that correction could happen so that when faculty go to Workday, they can see that that training that is currently listed below due on April 30th, if that could be in our tasks, so that there, it also just more clear communication on what's due and when. A second issue that we spoke of at the meeting, adjunct faculty have been organizing to ask for payment for course prep. When a course gets canceled and they've already prepared the course, that was just and the course gets canceled. Just a discussion of if that could be handled in a way that they could be compensated in some way for the work that they've done. So those were really the two main issues. And again, I didn't properly prepare this report. If I'm in this position again, I will have it more prepared.
Thank
So
you.
I stand for questions.
Anybody? Okay, thank you. Staff Senate?
So good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rowley. Thank you for the opportunity to present on behalf of Staff Senate. I'd like to do a little introduction of who we are for our new member, Dr. Dittmer. Dr. Dittmer, I'm Robert Gutierrez. I'm the director of the Tutoring Center and also co-chair of Staff Senate. And online is also my colleague, Michelle Renteria, who is the Distance Learning Director and also co-chair of Staff Senate. We'd like to say, on behalf of Staff Senate, we would like to welcome Dr. Dittmer and look forward to working with you during your tenure here with us on the Santa Fe Community College Governing Board. So welcome, sir. Everyone, you received the Staff Senate meeting minutes from January the 30th. And we did have a meeting on the February the 13th, but those meeting minutes are still being vetted by all staff. So we'll have you to those at the next one. But I'd like to give you just a kind of some updates on our last meeting of the 13th. So Vice President Dr. Yash Morimoto was invited to attend this meeting and again reminded everyone who has not completed the required cybersecurity training to please complete that. He also gave an update on the next phase of the Bolton compensation study. Staff Senate appreciates and thanks Dr. Morimoto along with Chief Human Resources Director Donna Castro for their continued updates on how each phase of this compensation study will be implemented. So we really appreciate that. And then we had Dobby Schmidt, who is the Director of Facilities. He gave an update on the HVAC project and how this project will affect certain departments. Staff know that this project will cause some disruptions for students, faculty, and staff. But staff does understand that the end results will be very rewarding after this is completed. So we're going through that process right now. I'd like to just give a special shout out to our committee representatives who continue to serve and give updates in Staff Senate. Their commitment to these committees is very much appreciated by all staff, and as you can see from our meeting minutes. And I'd like to just yield the rest of my time to my co-chair, Michelle, if she'd like to add anything.
Thank you, Robert. Just want to thank board member, I'm so sorry, board member
Dittmer?
There you are. Yes, welcome, board member Dr. Dittmer. And I wanted to thank Zube, I'm so sorry, your name escaped me, for the wonderful recommendation to add in-person opportunities for anyone who's interested in attending the Staff Senate. The turnout has been really great, very supportive with the facilities staff, and now with the new CPL members in HR, they're also attending. That's increasing our participation, and I believe Robert reported out recently, was it close to 70, Robert?
Yeah, we've been averaging between 60 and 70 members that are attending Staff Senate.
Great.
Yeah.
And with that, Madam Chair, we stand for any questions.
Anybody? All right, great, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay, President's report.
All right. Thank you, Chair Siegel. I am going to start with some updates on our recent legislative session. I would say that it was a very successful session for Santa Fe Community College overall. Just a little bit on the capital money that we received. This is the individual money that we received from individual legislators. I don't know who gave us what, but I can check with Dan. Yeah, I'll find.
In a month or so.
He always lets me know. Yeah. Anyway, so we are going to receive $15,000 for an automotive training piece of equipment. We are going to get the $100,000 that was requested for the IT, the infrastructure for the backlot project. KSFR, the radio station, is getting $100,000 for some kind of equipment. I don't know what it is, but something they need. And then there's $70,000 for water treatment equipment and $95,000 for welding equipment. So those are the individual pieces. But what I think is going to be most significant for us is this year the CHES put in a request for $18.6 million. And it looks like we'll be funded for $18.6 million, which has never happened before. That's actually an 18-month appropriation. It'll take us through to the end of the project. We were advised to just, I think they're sick of us, honestly. But if that's the approach that works, then I'm happy to do it.
You're not going back to them.
No, so we will have the funding. Each college will still have to contribute a small portion, but our portion is minimal compared to what it would have been had we not received that funding. So and that's in House Bill 2. There's also a major projects capital bill that passed, House Bill 8, which is really designed more for university projects and probably CNM. Because it's for any kind of project that is over $50 million. And we don't really have $50 million projects, but it keeps them from being in the GO bond. So I still think it's of great value to us, and so I tried to support it any way I could, because otherwise we're going to have the medical school at UNM and big things like that encroaching on our GO bond, and then the whole thing would be messed up. So that did pass. In House Bill 2, and this started out from a Senate bill that Chair Munoz was extremely passionate about. It was a $1.2 billion appropriation for training, some tax rebates. It's kind of a complete economic development package in quantum computing and fusion energy. And so $6 million of that will go to CNM as the fiscal agent for all of the community colleges for training programs. So, it's something that we need to look into. There is certainly more job opportunity in Albuquerque right now than there is in Santa Fe, but these are high-paying jobs. President Hartzler always tells the story about somebody who was in a jewelry polishing program at CNM, and so there's no prerequisites, no underlying skills needed to go into their quantum mechanic boot camp. And so this jewelry shiner, stone shiner, went to that boot camp, and by the time they kind of recruited him at the very end of it for a job, and he was making over $100,000 right out of that 6-week camp. So, there has to be an economy to support that here. I think there is a small fusion company that's locating at the Midtown campus, so we will stay as closely connected to that as we can. there is a conference going on right now in Albuquerque that has some economic development initiatives for community colleges in quantum especially. So we're going to pay attention. I hope it doesn't just turn out to be an Albuquerque-centric project, but there will be money for us to train our students too. And there's a Senate Memorial 16, which I really didn't think we would be able to get through. And when I say we, I shouldn't say we. It was Katrin Allred who pretty much did this by herself. And so it's to collect student parent data. And so Katrin has kind of championed a statewide initiative to collect this data so that we can figure out, first of all, how many student parents we really have and what we can do to better make their educational journey smoother and help them be more likely to finish. So I am, really proud of her in doing that. This is going to be a moment for childcare. Also, there is capital money available now for the first time that I'm really aware of to expand child care centers. So we have, I wouldn't call it a real plan, but like a sketch of how we could expand our child care center and add a few rooms, because the only way we can expand is to add some more rooms, because we certainly want to keep our 5-star status. I don't really see there's any reason for us to be offering child care if it's subpar. And then on top of that, Senator Heinrich is going to visit the child care center on Friday. So I just found out he'll be there, I think, at 10 on Friday. His staff was there a week or two ago, and so his staff really wanted him to see it. He's very interested in these programs, so that may be an avenue too for us to try to get some funding and see if we can expand. We always have this giant waiting list, but there's not really anything we can do about it because we really just can't take that many people. If we take 100 people, that's helpful, but it's not. It would be nice to be able to do more. Member Gurman's bill, the math bill passed, so that there will be an increase in the requirement for teachers, people who want to be math teachers. So we'll, be looking at that, and our education teachers and math teachers will be working on that. There is a 1% compensation increase. Again, it was there in the regular bill. It got taken out in some kind of I don't know what. I was looking at it one afternoon, it was there. The next morning, it was not there.
It was taken out to pay for the increase in
health insurance. So we are already paying health insurance for health insurance.
How did they get money to bring it back? That's the question.
Well, they just took it from something else. They cut something else.
But it's back in. It's
back in. It was in the tax bill, actually. So everybody is just marveling at how it showed up in the tax bill, but there it is. Yesterday, Dr. Morimoto and I spent 9 hours in a data summit in Albuquerque. It was actually very good. I learned a lot. He probably didn't learn that much, really, because he already knew that stuff. But it was our consultants from Campus Works that are helping with the implementation for the Workday project had a meeting in Albuquerque, and all of the colleges sent people to that meeting, and then a bunch of the CHES staff were there. And it's to build a data strategy, to come up with a data governance strategy. One of the things that you learn in going through all of these discovery sessions is that nobody really is doing this very well right now. And so we will all be doing it better with their help in looking at how we're going to wall off certain data, and people that work in data have very strong opinions about these things, so they'll keep us squared away. And so one other thing that I wanted to mention, I'm like coming up right on the minute there. At the next work session on March 11th, I have invited a couple of people from Campus Works to brief you all on a tool that I am really interested in Santa Fe Community College moving towards. It is a service, actually, a monthly service where they come in, do a lot of discovery for us, but they build a closed AI tool that is customized for the college. So, when we were talking about Dropout Detective and Instructor Insight and all that, this is like that on steroids. But one of the things that I want, I don't want to say too much because I'll probably say something that's wrong because obviously I'm not an expert on this. But all of it's taking all of the data that we currently have and giving us access to our data in a much easier way. So we have all kinds of stuff, repositories and, you know, every nook and corner of the college, but some of it's really hard to get at. So this would be a way for it, you know, would have no interaction with anything outside of the campus, just our data. But that way you could create individual student profiles for students using the data that we have for them as students at our college, their academic record, you know, all of those things to really customize plans, success plans for them, help us meet our targets for not just enrollment, but there is a strong enrollment piece there, but also for persistence and retention. And so our colleagues at San Juan and CNM they're implementing it already. They're a little bit ahead of us. One thing though that I did have to check on beforehand is that the only real work for the college are some discovery sessions, and the rest of it, they do it. And so they take the discovery sessions and your data and build all that. So anyway, I want you all to see how that would work and what that would be. So they have offered to come to our next meeting and talk you through that and, you know, show you, let you answer some questions or ask questions. So with that, I think that I hit every one of my little things on there. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
So on the Heinrich visit, we
Yes.
have often invited board members to attend when people.
Sure, I think, you know, he's there to tour the facility,
Right.
but I'm going to go. I mean, I just found out about it, but
Yeah.
I think anyone's, you know, welcome to attend.
We just need to notice it if more than 2 board members are going to come.
Yes, if
Yes.
3 are going to come,
So
then we would.
If anybody's interested, let the president
Yeah,
know.
let me know right away, and then it's supposed to be at 10 o'clock.
Right,
You know how those,
whenever, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
whenever.
Sorry, what is this?
Well, Senator Heinrich
Yes,
is coming to
he's
visit.
going to visit our child care center.
Okay.
And I have no idea if this is like a 15-minute visit or a, you know,
2
a longer,
hours. Right.
yeah.
Right.
I won't be able to make it because my morning is booked, but if you end up being pushed till like 12, then I was going to be on campus anyway.
Okay.
You know, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
President Raleigh?
question, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so you mentioned you and Yash being at the data conference. I'm curious, and you don't have to address it right now, but maybe when we get a presentation on it, you know, with as fast as AI is moving, are we, I don't want to say worried about, but are we looking at whether once we get Workday done, it will be obsolete and there'll be AI things out there we could use instead?
Actually, Workday is an AI tool.
Right, but
So-
there are some other AI things out there.
Right, but the data in Workday does an update every 6 months automatically. And so, the product, the service that we're looking at starts out with, the data is cleansed every single day. And so it is designed, and Workday is designed to develop with AI as it develops. I think Workday is the most, I mean, it's kind of the industry, at the bleeding edge of the industry right now. But one of the things I do like about it is that the plan is for it to update constantly.
Okay, good to hear. All right, thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
When the Senate Memorial 16 was being discussed about the collecting more data, Santa Fe Community College was shining star on that. It was in all the analyses about this, why this is important and how much Santa Fe Community College have collected data. It was all in the
Well,
background there.
I
So
have
it's
to
really
say,
good.
Katrin has pushed all of us, and by all of us, I mean all the community colleges in the state, to conduct surveys and, you know, figure out the smoothest way to collect that data on a regular basis.
Yeah, we're the shining example, and that all the other colleges need to follow now.
All right.
Well, they're gonna do the memorial, but
Yes, they will.
That's great. Okay. All right, on to board orientation, which we need to have. So I guess we need the president and Audrey to work on some dates and when we can get ACCT here and.
Okay, so, I mean, this is an orientation, and then we're gonna have one in April, and then we're gonna have another one in June or July?
We can do it however you want.
Yeah.
So we don't have to bring, you know, we can bring them in again in June. It may not, I mean, part of this is gonna be driven by their availability.
Right, right.
I mean, that's just a real thing. So I will contact them this evening. We had already been looking at April. I let them know that our new board member would be sworn in this month and that we wouldn't want to do it before April. So I think they were working on those dates so that we could find a day and have that done. And then once I get some options from them, I'll have Audrey ask everybody so that we can see what works.
Okay.
I was hoping in the future that we have one in January and then we have one in the summer. And in January, because sometimes we have new board members, we can look at the board priorities and discuss them and who's going to be the lead on what, and then do orientation to the new board members. And then in the summer, we have more like brainstorming sessions and president evaluation and all that. I feel like we need two, but not too close to each other. But we had our own circumstances this year, not having a board member.
Right, and we shouldn't have a new board member next January. I mean,
We don't?
No, we won't have
every
another
other year.
election
Oh,
for
right.
2 years.
Okay. But we always have more to talk about.
I'm not saying we don't.
Yeah. That's why we need two. I cannot do 16, but I can do 17. I don't know if this is for later discussion.
Well, no, we should try to.
Make a decision.
Can everybody do the 17th of April?
The
Yes.
budget.
For the budget.
Oh, the board orientation is a different day?
Yeah.
Jody and Zuby, this is for the budget, the 17th. Can you do those? Do that.
Afternoon, is that right?
I guess that means yes. Silence means yes.
Thumbs up.
Give him a mission, give him a task.
All right. Okay, so.
Sorry.
Yes?
Yeah.
The 17th, from what time to what time?
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Okay, yeah, the 16th I'm flying all day, but the 17th I probably could attend.
Okay. And Zuby? Okay. All right, we'll tentatively schedule that, confirming with Zuby.
Budget.
And then we have our, do we have any public comment? Apparently not.
No.
Okay.
1 to 5.
Next governing board work session, the 11th of March. I won't be here. Zuby, will you be here to chair that? Hopefully he will.
Not, then am I third in
And
line?
you'll chair it.
Oh,
right.
great.
And then our governing board meeting on the 25th.
Yeah, Chair Siegel, I won't be here on the 11th either.
Okay.
Ooh,
Might not have a quorum.
we wanna have,
And we
well,
might
there's Howard, me,
You'll- And Zuby.
and Zuby.
We'll confirm with Zuby if
Yeah.
there will be a quorum.
Um,
All right. And then we need to have a planning meeting sometime in the future to look at what we were talking about districts for board members. But I think we can put that off into the future, late spring, early summer, whatever.
So two questions. So the next ACCT Congress, the big meeting in October, the registration has just opened. And that's in October, in Chicago this time. So any board members interested in going? I think Dr. Stedman should go. It's really, yeah.
Does everybody have that information? We'll make sure Audrey
We can-
has
yeah.
that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure it's on their radar. And then are we having a finance committee? Like there used to be a finance committee and Pierre was on it. Is that still gonna start happening again? And we need to appoint someone from the board to that?
Why don't we make that part of our conversation that?
In the orientation?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if there was another committee I remember Pierre mentioning, but I don't remember. There was 2 committees that board members were serving on. I'll have to dig back in an email.
Question?
Planning?
At the previous meeting, there was a discussion about board members not completing their training.
Yeah.
So how do I find out what training I'm supposed to be doing?
I need to
Do you have that, Audrey? Can you send it?
Send that
Okay.
to, but there's a little,
Well,
hello?
I think it's Echo.
It's a requirement of HED to do a training.
I'll be glad to do it. I just need to know what I need to do.
Right, and it's all online.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
Audrey will make sure you get it.
Great. Thank you.
We'll make sure she does it.
But
It takes 30 minutes max. I think I did it in 15.
I can't.
Well, I think there's
I
actually
can't.
more to it. They said there are multiple
Oh, there's
modules and
more
that
coming.
yes, and that if you look, I think they said that everybody from here still needed to do it. Stephanie was
How can
relentless.
that be?
I don't know. I
I
haven't,
did
because
what
we
I
don't have
said.
it.
The law says 10 hours, and that's like, I don't have 10 hours yet to spend on it. But, I mean, if I can,
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I've already done it. I did it last fall. So, we do have people who've done it, and it was not that complex.
Right.
anyway,
I think this might be new. I think they just released it in December, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's when I did it.
Yeah, and they just released it. They had a requirement to do it, and they were working on it, and then I can't remember, there was something they were waiting on, and then they released it at the beginning of December and said it had to be completed by the end of the year, but I don't know that anybody.
It wasn't beginning. I got the first
No
email
one
was
could-
December 19. Well, I
Okay.
have not found time yet from
Well,
December 19 to now.
I think
I'm catching up with the legislative session. But what I heard is that they posted the people who completed it, they posted that on their website.
they were going to.
But not the people who not. They're not shaming the people who haven't, but they're posting it for the people who did. So if you're not sure, Linda, check their website. Well,
And it said
okay.
I completed it, so I.
Well,
Okay.
what they said is that there are multiple modules. There's like 10 different
There's
modules.
10.
Where are they?
I don't know, because I don't even have access.
I need to do it and see, but
Perhaps we
Yeah.
can
Chair
find out.
Siegel?
Yes.
Yeah.
see if your
So
name is on there.
There are multiple modules. They're all things we've learned at ACCT. It's pretty fast to go through it. I actually, when I completed it, I guess it was December, I was thinking it was earlier. I emailed them and they emailed back they received it. So I know I've
Okay.
done it, whether my name is on the list or not.
Okay. Thank you for letting me
Okay,
know.
All right. But don't worry about it because you just got on the board.
Yeah,
That's
don't worry.
okay,
I'm the slacker.
Yeah. All right. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second, how
All
come
those in
I'm just
favor,
like,
aye.
aye.
Okay.
I'm surprised we finished
Aye.
early even though we didn't have a work session.
I know.
What's up with that? No,